I respect you. I'm doing the job because I'm doing it for America. So I think right now, with the perfect storm of Musk just having Trump on, of his feud with Trump over RFK, of the campaign managers potentially getting fired and being replaced by somebody else, and to top it off, RFK goes and has a meeting with Kamala Harris's team for a job on the campaign. I think all of these things accelerated the chances of.
Is that story accurate? Did he actually meet with her?
Well, there were reports.
This is WAPO.
This is WAPO.
Okay. This is WAPO. Okay. So R.F. Kennedy tried to meet Kamala Harris to discuss a cabinet job.
Really?
Okay, go through it. Okay. So here's a story of he wants to meet with. Now, do me a favor. Go to his Twitter account while I'm reading this, Rob, to see if he answered to this question. RFK sought a meeting with Kamala Harris to discuss potentially joining her cabinet if he endorses her campaign. Harris's team have not endorsed proposal. Kennedy's previously attempted similar talks with Donald Trump with no agreement reached. Right. Kennedy's campaign claims that his endorsement would boost Harris or Trump across 31 states. However, his standing in national polls has dropped since Joe Biden exited the race from 9 to 5%. Despite this, Kennedy is still actively campaigning, but is open to other avenues to influence change. Kennedy's outreach to Democrats, including attempts through Hollywood intermediaries and Biden allies, has largely been ignored, with Democrat insiders dismissing him as a MAGA-funded fringe candidate. Is that his response to it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through it. So VP Harris' Democratic Party would be unrecognizable to my father and uncle, and I cannot reconcile my values. The Democratic Party,
true,
or RFK and JFK, was the party of civil liberties and free speech. VP Harris's party of censorship and lockdowns and medical coercion. Kennedy Democrats were anti-war. Kamala's riddled with neocon warmongers. The RFK, JFK Dems were allied of Main Street cops, firefighters, and working people. VP Harris is the party of big tech, big pharma, and Wall Street. True. My dad and uncle's party was the champion of voting rights and fair election. VP Harris's party of lawfare, disenfranchisement, and coronation of its candidate by corporate donors and party elites. I've used our nation's court to prosecute corporations who hurt black Americans. VP Harris used our nation's courts to mercilessly prosecute black Americans and exploit them for their labor. Sure. My father and uncle prided themselves on their skills at debates and their ability to articulate a coherent vision for our country. VP Harris is scared to debate and can't survive an unscripted interview. Instead of outlining a vision, she relies on middle school tactics, memes, forged headlines, infantile slogans, joy, and name-calling Republicans as weird. I've spent years battling government corruption and lies. VP Harris spent years gaslighting Americans about the health of our commander-in-chief. I have no plans to endorse Kamala Harris for president. I do have a plan to defeat her.
Boom. Is he accurate?
So let me ask you this. No, hang on. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
This is really the only question. Okay. What's the percentage you believe he directly or indirectly or sending a handler went to Kamala Harris's camp to talk about a potentially job to negotiate with them?
Nah.
Are you at zero?
So? I'm going to say zero? Very low.
Rob?
Very low.
I'm also at zero. I have a clip I can play you, which is why.
Go for it.
Low.
Where are you at?
Are you at zero? I mean, you never know. Like 2%?
Tom, where are you at?
I'm at 25%, and they told him to F off, and that led to the last sentence of that, because everything in there was true, and then the last sentence, I have no plans. But did you have a plan last week? Were you thinking about, hey, my voice needs to be heard, I want to be relevant? I think there's a 25% chance he went in there, and they told him to stuff it, and then he's like, okay.
If you had to put a percentage.
I fully disagree.
Well, but Adam, you're saying zero means 100% zero.
You're right.
That's what you're saying.
You're right. Let's see what he has to say.
I want to hear it.
Go ahead. I agree
I
with
wouldn't say zero because, the margin of error, 2%, whatever.
Aha!
Very low.
Yeah.
Think about it from Kamala Harris's position. You don't think she wants his 5, 10, 15%, whatever the hell he's polling at? You think that she's too good for that? By the way, don't look now. She's just, quote unquote, tied, surpassed, right there with Trump at this point, even though she hasn't said a word.
Maybe.
Trump and Kamala, whatever you think, would be very smart to cozy up to this man. This man is smart. He's informed. He's a fighter. He knows what the hell he's talking about. To get him on your team, how much money would you pay for that? What kind of campaign advisor budget would you put together to get RFK on your squad? I think he'd be way more aligned with Trump than with Kamala. So that's why I posed the question at the beginning, do you think that story is even true? I don't see him after
what
making a
clip is
statement like
this?
that.
What
This
clip
is the day after Joe Biden announced that he was stepping down and not continuing to seek the office of president in
Play
2024.
the clip.
And Kamala was named
what?
as the nominee.
Okay, go ahead.
Kamala Harris is the party of war. She is.
They asked
She's
her.
a war hawk. The Democratic Party was always the peace party. Kamala Harris is a war hawk on Ukraine. She's a war hawk on China. I think that we should be figuring out ways to coexist with the rest of the world as best we can. Of course, we need to protect our national security. I think she's not going to do anything about the national deficit. I've never heard her speak about the chronic disease epidemic, I think she's a product of the corporate control of our democracy. And she's one of the authors of, in terms of civil rights, she has one of the worst civil rights record of any public official. She's the author of one of the primary authors of the school to prison pipeline. She kept 5,000 people, despite a Supreme Court order that she released 5,000 prisoners of nonviolent drug crimes who were ill.
Tom, I'm not coming to you first, but Vinny, go ahead. What do you?
I mean, again, who knows? At the end of the day, we can't say 100%. But I mean, I'm thinking. I went to the Trump side. You think after, because Trump had that call with him that was leaked. Somebody recorded him talking about it. You think after that, Trump is even considering bringing this guy on board on him after he found out that he might have been going to Kamala to try?
Yes, if he was smart.
Well, I mean,
wait, you're saying Trump may not want him on his side?
I say if Trump found out, think about this. Look at how he responded to Joe Rogan.
It's not how life works.
You don't think?
Let me tell you how business works.
Yep.
Listen, I'm in the convention last week, okay, with my key leaders. And, there are certain things when you look at everybody, and I have a score for them and they have a score for me. Here's how life works. My guys, when you're around business for a long time, I have stuff on some of my guys who left me and are not with me, who are very good with me, because whatever they did, I've never told anybody. And I knew, I've never told anybody. They left, they trashed me, never told anybody. Personal stuff, never told anybody, okay? So, while you're transitioning with the move that you're going right now, I know what's going to happen, okay? Some people only look at you as, man, I can make a lot of money with this guy. And they're loyal to you while you're there, that they can monetize you. And then all of a sudden, when that move, they're like, oh, my loyalty has to move over here because to my money. And you'll feel that. And it's awkward because some of the guys, you're like, I did the most for that guy. And they gradually kind of become like this with you. Okay, cool. Some of the guys, they've always been the same with you. Some of the guys, you never knew they were the most loyal to you, but at a time like this, you realize, wow, you were the one most loyal.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. But guess what? You have to manage our relationships. So for Trump, for a guy that's on the other side, you look at everybody in the room and you have a score for everybody on how much you trust them. It's very simple. So, for example, say, oh, I would never trust you around my daughters. I would never trust you around my family. I would never trust you with my money. I would never trust you with a top secret. I would never, because I always knew you always make a decision for what's best for you, not what's best for the company. So if I tell you something about one of our employees, you'll go tell her what I just told you to protect her career, not my career, not the boss's career. So you're not a company person. You're a person that's protecting people that are helping you, not me. Totally. Now I know. Make sense?